Discover College Soccer podcast is sponsored by VIO. VIO is the #1 AI camera solution helping players capture college recruitment videos. Check out their new starter and family options by clicking on the link in the description or visit Discover College Soccer to learn more. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Jay Mason from Cal Poly Pomona. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, Matt. Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. We're a little far away. I'm down here in Bradenton, Florida. Although, God, about 20 years ago, I spent a summer in Culver City, so not too far there from
Okay.
Pomona. So
Sure.
I've driven around the valley every one just way back in the day.
Well, you get a sense of I know for myself moving from Texas, the sheer size of California and the diversity within it, and then just the amount of people that are here is it can be staggering the first bit, understanding how to navigate those freeways and get around the specific times you should drive and times you shouldn't drive.
Yeah, it's funny because I dealt with LA traffic. I lived in Washington D.C. for a long time, which is famous for its traffic, and now here near the Gulf Coast in Florida, our traffic's a little bit different, but still people taking an hour to go 4 miles, but that's just because it's all stoplights and you're headed to the beach. So that's it is what it is.
I could think of worse things. That's for
Exactly.
sure.
Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on. We're talking here kind of end of February. It's the height of the college showcase season, at least for a lot of folks. So for you as a Division II school, kind of walk me through your normal kind of calendar in terms of recruiting. Are you done with 24s and looking at 25s? You still kind of waiting on some folks? What's your normal cycle look like?
I mean, in a perfect world, typically, I think pre-COVID, the cycle was about a year and a half ahead. We were trying to verbally, lock in our top recruits for the upcoming season. I think, obviously COVID, I think's changed a number of things, and then you compound maybe the backlog of players that didn't get the opportunity to maybe attend their four-year institution and play, that took maybe a JC route. It's kind of backlogged some very talented players. And then with the NCAA and the portal, I wouldn't say gaining traction. I think the portal's created some challenges for not just for recruiting standpoint, but just for the development of players. So our calendar has shifted a little bit. It's funny, we were talking as a staff this morning about how we balance the transfer portal, the opportunities that come up for players within, even within our own program, whether that's, moving to a higher level if they wanted to go to, a division more is happening to a number of schools in our conference now, where, the top all region players are getting, let's say, post financial stability for them and their families. So, the challenges for us, we look at our group after the fall ends and we really look at assessing, okay, based on our graduation rate and where people are going to end up, development wise, positionally, what do we need? And, for our incoming 24 class, I'd say 50% of them were completed about a year out. So it gives us kind of a solid foundation of knowing what we have, and development wise, maybe two of those players maybe transition really well and we develop the other side of it. And then we typically balance out maybe some of the skill positions, or maybe we have, for example, maybe it's a front core players that's a little bit young and we need to bring in maybe a transfer to kind of help balance out some of the experience that they would need in bigger moments. So, our class for 24 will be, wow, we'll have 10, including our mid-year transfers. We graduated 9 players this past spring. So just balancing out the experience of that group, and trying to make sure, financially we can do those things. And as you know, in the college game, there's a lot of fluidity to it. So you may think you're done, and then all of a sudden, you're back on the portal trying to find something because something fell through. So, I think for us, it never quite ends. And with the upcoming events, we're focusing on, our 25s and identifying our 26s, and our 25 class has started. We've got a couple verbal commits for that class. Um, but typically, we're trying to recruit within a pool of players that are approached by Big West schools, or maybe some of the WCC schools, or those type of Mountain West type places. So they're getting a lot of attention, I think, from those places, and we got to figure out where we fit in that mix. And I'm sure you've talked to other coaches. I think we're in a unique scenario here in California where a lot of out-of-state schools want California kids, so we get a lot of backs, kids who've maybe traveled to Kansas and figured out, I don't like the weather and I miss California. So
Sure.
yeah, I think it's a real fluid situation for us. I'm fortunate to have a staff that is really ingrained in the club community and the international coaching community. So it helps us kind of cast a broad net of players that we might have access to.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. Well, you mentioned events, kind of what's give me a couple of the top ones that are on your must hit list each season.
Yeah, I think, we look at obviously the ECNL and GA showcases, and events are important for us because competitive wise, I mean, those kids get to see a competitive level on a really consistent basis. The Vegas showcase that's coming up, one of my staff members will be there with his team. So we get to kind of see different pockets of that, but I think you need to be really specific with your time and money. I think the funding for our recruiting shifts a bit. So state funds for us is used for in-state recruiting. So if we want to go out of state, we fundraise for those events. So we have to be specific, whether we're going to Arizona for ECNL, which is another big event that we're looking at, or something local like the Slammers ID event that's coming up, which is, there's a lot of local talent that we can see there and connect with. So yeah, I think it's balancing our resources, but we're looking Arizona, Vegas, and then the Slammers ID event are kind of the ones upcoming on our calendar right now.
Okay, well, maybe I'll see your assistant coach at Vegas. We're taking our Florida girls this season to
Well, you
have a
are. Okay.
different look, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, what about ID camps? A lot of schools are doing those now as a big part of their recruiting process. Do you guys do ID camps, or your staff work other ID camps?
Yeah, absolutely. We do both. I think the more we can get, I think we have a really great group here, that more we can get in front of people and get them interested in what we're doing here at Cal Poly Pomona. I think the better it reflects on our program. And as you know, like word of mouth is huge amongst the club community. And when you do a good job taking care of kids and really represent yourself and your program well at these events, it's important. Our ID camps, I think we have a unique challenge here in Southern California where there's so many schools and some very big, world known, you get UCLA and USC, and you look at Cal State Fullerton and Long Beach, and you have all these great schools that can attract big numbers. So we really focus on specific times of the year where we don't have a ton of overlap. Maybe for example, we'll have a winter ID camp right before anything really starts to ramp up, where we're not fighting conflicts with whether it's the high school season, club events. Really try to do that, and we're limited to like 1 or 2 day camps, which for us has been great. I think it's a great tool. We typically each year out of we usually have 2 ID camps and a college prep camp. We'll sign probably 2 to 4 players from those camps. And for us, getting to interact with those players and get a better understanding of what they're looking for, get a good understanding of their characters as people, and really get to know whether they'll fit our culture here, is a huge tool, huge recruiting tool for us to make sure our retention rate stays high. And then the foundation of the 4 year foundation of that pyramid that keeps us solid is with players that genuinely want to be here and want to be at this school. So we have a camp coming up in June, which gives kids an opportunity within the summer to kind of, and that'll be focused a lot on the 25s, 26 classes. And then we'll have one right before everyone kind of heads back. So it'll be early August. So it allows, for us, we use it partly as a tool to bring in our 2025 commits again to come to camp and meet the girls that are working the camp. And our 2024 is to get a head start on preseason. So we like to invite them in, and then we, create an environment where we cap our camps. So, it sounds kind of counterintuitive when you're trying to raise some money, but we really want to have an experience that the kids leave feeling seen, feeling that they've had an ability to connect, whether it's with our players or our staff members, where if someone approached them after the camp and said, well, what's Cal Poly all about? That they're able to articulate that in a genuine way, not just, yeah, there was 150 kids there. I didn't even get to talk to the coaches. They said hi to me once, and I think that's where we're trying to find our niche in kind of the camp experience, where I don't want people to feel like they're coming here and it's just a money making event. We want to really genuinely help kids understand what it's about to be a college athlete and pathways they can take to find the best fit for them, even if it's not our school.
No, that's great. Well, specifically when you're at an event or ID camp or whatever, kind of what makes up the hierarchy of things you're looking for in a player, whether that's off the field aspects or on the field stuff?
I mean, we structure, obviously, we start with the positional needs, of the program heading into that event. We look at specific interactions we've maybe had with some of those players. I do believe there's certain clubs that prepare players a little better for the transition into college soccer based on what our game model looks like and the type of players that we look for. So, from a physical and technical, tactical standpoint, we need our conference is a very athletic, physical conference. So it's a certain amount of athleticism and durability they need to have. Technically, we want to play and we want to play quickly. So we need a certain type of player that is comfortable in tight spaces. And then tactically, we look a lot at how many times they get their head up, what their decision making looks like in specific moments like transition, and the last thing, kind of how they interact with their teammates, their coaches, best we can at a showcase. I think it's tough because we're moving around a little bit, but to be able to see what they or how they react in moments of, whether it's a challenging moment like going down a goal or maybe a foul they've committed, how they deal with their emotions. And body language, I think, tells us a lot about those moments. And we try to watch these prospective athletes probably, 4 to 6 times to give them the opportunity. Everyone has a good day and then everyone has a day they'd like to get back. So I think for us, it's doing our due diligence to really get to know, what the kid's all about, and seeing them against different opponents is helpful for us to see the versatility and again how they deal with those different challenges that they may come up against at a showcase.
No, that makes perfect sense. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school, coach. I'm sure there's some folks maybe not familiar with Cal Poly Pomona. So you've been there a few years. What are some of the things that you love about the school? Some awesome things about the school? Maybe some stuff we wouldn't even know by going through the website.
It's funny, when I initially looked at this position, I wasn't familiar with what a polytechnic education looks like. And I think coming from Canada, we didn't have a great deal of resources to understand the different types of universities we could look at, specifically as maybe a male soccer player looking just at soccer, where I think this institution provides a unique experience where, you get an opportunity within your junior and senior years to really put the theory-based knowledge that you're learning in the classroom into the workplace. For example, we're one of two programs here in California that offer a veterinary degree and animal science degree. And I think, we have young ladies that are in a vet clinic or a vet hospital their junior year. And by their senior year, they already have a network of connections where they've already have a job lined up. We had a young lady, it's probably a year ago, or no, it's just this past season. She had an engineering job with a firm during the fall. Like she had already made that connection through her junior season, and I think it gives our student athletes a unique opportunity to differentiate between someone that's been in a 4-year institution and hasn't had a lot of experience in the real world yet, and still has to find that, where they've kind of been able to marry that learn by doing approach, which I really like. And it ties well to what we do as coaches. We take that theory, that game model, and or maybe in a classroom or a team room, and then we take it out and we apply it. And I think it aligns well with that. And for myself as a learner, really enjoy that. So I'm not sure how many people understand the differences between those type of educations. The school is 27,000 right now. As a When I arrived here, typically a commuter type campus, there was only about 5,000 students on campus, where I think we're closer to 10 now, which is a nice shift in the community involvement and the student athlete experience for all sports here on campus. And the university, I think, kids, I think, are a little surprised when they come to campus. We're one of the top 20 most beautiful campuses in California. We got the mountains as a backdrop here, and it's green and spread out. We got horses on campus, and it's just a different feel than a typical, maybe more urban CSU campus, where it's just a lot of buildings. And I think that's something that stands out for our young ladies here. And then the conference we play in, I think the people in this area, I think, know the level of it. I think it's probably one of, if not the best conference in Division II, as far as the level of play that you're going to see. I mean, even the men's side, this past year, I mean, the top 10, 5 were from our conference. So, you're looking at the level of play, and it's similar to, a Big West, higher end mid-major kind of level, which is, I think, attractive to a certain type of competitive mindset that we want to have here. So, yeah, I know for myself, and being able to attract a very professional and smart staff, I think's really helped me build this into something that all of our alumni can be proud of. And it hasn't come without its challenges. I think COVID provided us with a unique challenge here of 18 months absent from seeing our girls in person, and our girls losing a really big part of their identity in a big transition period in their life was a big challenge for everyone, I think, around the country. I think it was unique here, based on the CSU system and how it operates compared to maybe private institutions. So we've been really proud of where we've kind of built it back up, and excited about what's coming in 24. We have a really great group returning here, and we've added some really exciting pieces this spring transfer window.
Nice. Well, you just a second ago, you mentioned staff. So talk to me about your staff. How many of them? What role do they play? What other kind of support staff maybe help out with the team from the athletic department or other departments?
Yeah, from an administrative side, I think, it's a pretty well balanced approach here, where we have a very specific academic advisor for all athletes here within the athletic department that has been here for 20 plus years. So he's created a really efficient framework for the kids to be successful here. We have full-time athletic training staff and counseling staff here as well. So I think the generation of kids that are kind of coming through, dealing with the exposure that they have to deal with, from whether it's a social media standpoint or anything like that, I think has really helped balance some of those challenges. We're fortunate to have a nutritionist that works with each team, and a T&E group that continually educates the athletes on how to eat here on campus, off campus. And I think that's really helped shape, or at least balance, some of the recovery challenges that I think maybe they've had in the past. And then we have a full-time strength and conditioning staff that works with our athletes. For example, this spring, they see Mike 4 days a week right now. So it's nice to have someone with that expertise to be able to build up not just the strength and agility and the speed of the athletes, but I think a lot of confidence is built up in that realm, where the girls maybe haven't had a lot of experience in completing certain types of lifts. So we're really excited about that component here. It's helped helped our girls reach another level of potential. I think they might not have realized. And then my current staff, I have the longest serving staff member is Dan Richards, and he actually worked for the previous staff. So when I came in, I interviewed everybody that was here, and our ideas of what I wanted to do really aligned. It seemed to, excite him and what he wanted to do, and really helped me gain a better understanding, not just of the current student athletes that were here, but the club dynamic within Southern California that was a little bit different from where I was coming from there in Texas. And then I've been fortunate to add Emily Tomnovich. She's been it's been a year, almost a year with us now, and she's worked in a variety of positions with the Puerto Rican national team, with Long Beach State, most recently with Long Beach State, with a program that I think there's similarities in how we want to play the game, and a deep understanding of the game. And both of my assistants are way more educated than I am about the game, and I love that kind of intrinsic drive to consistently try to improve themselves and in their ability to articulate that to our players and raise our program to another level. And then we were also very fortunate. We had a program associate, Mike Davis, who has his PhD in sports psychology, and I think multiple master's degrees. I can't remember what they're in, but he was able to come in and help us build that side of our program and build, a mental framework, not just from how they approach the daily discipline and habits, but the challenges they face outside the field. So I feel like we've been fortunate to have kind of a well-rounded group here that provides me with varying opinions, challenges me when I need to be challenged, and provide the girls with just different perspectives on the game and life, which I think is really important as they grow and leave this place.
That's awesome. Well, what about you as the head man? How would you describe, kind of your coaching style and the style of play you're looking to implement there?
I think, for myself, I grew up in a country where soccer wasn't necessarily the number one sport. So I was fortunate where I had a Hector Marinero who played in La Liga, and I had a head coach that gave us kind of the understanding of how to approach different personalities, different skill sets. And I think for myself, I would say I'm more of a Socratic approach to it. I want to be able to ask a lot of questions. I want to develop a deeper understanding of not necessarily just who they are, but for them to start asking questions about, okay, well, how do we solve this? And really teaching them how to make decisions. I think I wouldn't call myself, and I'm going to use my players' feedback forms in this answer. They think I'm too nice in moments. And I think for myself, it's I've never felt like being not having like a dictator type ship where it's like it's my way or the highway. I want this situation to be collaborative, both from a staff and a player standpoint, because I think we can learn a lot from each other. So I would say I'm more of a collaborative type coach when we're looking at things. As far as what was the second part of that question?
Well, just style of play. It would just if
Yeah,
people.
yeah, style of play. I think for us, and the college game comes with its different challenges. I think with the substitution, rules and how quickly the game moves can create unique challenges when, as a head coach, you have the pressure to win games. And I think when I got into this, I promised myself I wouldn't abandon my principles and how I wanted to play, just on looking at how many games we win. And I think there's years where it's been challenging and years where it's come together. So yeah, we want to be able to play and play quickly through teams and be able to recognize moments where we can play vertical through lines, and we want players that get really excited in those transition moments. And then on the the flip side of that, have a very disciplined, hardworking, connected group in our defensive structure. And I think that's something, and I'll share this with you. Like, I think we scored a lot of goals last year, but we gave up more than I wanted. And I feel like our strength of our program's always been a team that's been in the top 10, 15 programs in the country each year in goals against. We need to kind of marry those, I think, a little bit better in order for us to really compete for a national championship. But I believe the group's right there. I mean, Point Loma is a fantastic program, and I think we're close. We're really, really close, and if we can really dial in things this spring, that we'll be able to give teams like Point Loma and all the talented teams out here in Southern California in the West region a go for it. And I think that's kind of the mindset of our program right now.
Awesome. Well, Coach, really appreciate the time, and I'm going to leave you with one last question.
Okay.
As a coach with many years and former player and everything, if you could boil down to just one kind of piece of information or something that you wish every parent, player, family going through the college recruiting process should know, what would that one thing be?
Be yourself. And I think a lot of people get caught up in the social media pressures that come with seeing your teammates commit, and the way that the parent structure is can be toxic in moments. So I would say, stay true to who you are and what you want to achieve as a person. And I think, for the kids that we speak to on these recruiting visits, one of the questions, and it's simple, but I don't think we ask ourselves this enough, is just like, well, what do you really want in your experience? And getting people to articulate what that is can help guide them on, the pathway that they need to take, whether it's the discipline, the habits that they daily have to make sure that they adhere to, and then looking at the type of schools and type of programs that fit their aspirations. But I would say just be themselves. We see too many players out there that I think you see one version of them, and then maybe you get them on a visit or in a camp, and you're like, wow, that's not the same person that I thought we were going to see. So, yeah, that would be my advice.
All right, love it. Well, Coach, really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck here in the off season, wrapping up your recruiting. Hopefully, I'll see your assistant coach in Vegas, and wish you the best of luck next season.
I appreciate it, Matt, and appreciate the time. And yeah, I'll let Dan know, see if he can swing by and see you guys.
Sounds good.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. Hi, everybody. It's Matt from Discover College Soccer. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, whether that's on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I also wanted to let you know about the Discover College Soccer Study Table. This is our brand new online portal that is complete with a 14-part online course giving you all of the ins and outs of the college soccer recruiting process. There's also a wealth of resources such as checklists, templates. There's the spreadsheets that have every soccer program in the country along with their coaches, their contact information, their social media information, some basic stats about the school, and more. Plus, there's an online community where you can ask your questions, share your wins, your losses, any questions that you may have around the college soccer recruiting process. It's all there at the Discover College Soccer study table that you can find at discovercollegesoccer.com/study table, and hopefully we will see you there.